Now, it's my privilege and my honor to have our visitor here, and he was determined he was coming, even though his mother-in-law passed away, and he has to leave quickly to go to the service for that. Bill, you can tell me anything you want to about me, about you, about your book, where you've been, what you've been doing, if you think you've got enough time. It's yours, boy. Let's roll with it.
If I didn't know better, I wouldn't know what kind of introduction that was. But, you know, they always told me if you're going to be dumb, you better be tough. And I don't know why, but that's what I got out of what you were all getting at. I'm just glad to be back.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Isn't that better?
Yeah.
That's good old Union County spirit.
Yeah, it's like when you get there's a story about the UT kid who got a scholarship at Vanderbilt. He's walking across East Tennessee boys walking across the beautiful campus up in Nashville, looking around, and he finally, he don't know where he is. He's trying to get to the admissions office. And he sees a feller with a tweed coat smoking a pipe. Hey, he says, I'm from East Tennessee. You know where the admissions office is at? And the fellow takes out his pipe and he said, son, this is Vanderbilt University. Around here, we don't end our sentences in prepositions. Well, the kid from East Tennessee says, well, you know where the admissions office is at, asshole? See, that's a noun. Now, that's an East Tennessee story. Well, Jesse Butcher told me this story about kid got out of UT and he's got his first job at the Ace Hardware in Maynardville, Tennessee. And the old farmer comes in and says, hey, he says, I need me an air conditioner. He's got his bib overalls on and his money right here. And the kid from UT, you know, he looks at the guy and he says, looks at the old man, doesn't think he can pay. And he says, well, old timer, how many BTUs you need? Man says, well, I reckon enough to cool this BUT the size of a TUB. And Jesse Butcher won $50 with that joke in Washington, D.C. as a National Heritage Fellow. Anyway, this is, I was going to tell you I'll tell you a quick story about Luther Woods. Does anybody remember Luther from Sharp's Chapel?
Sure, so the whole family.
Yeah.
I made names with it.
That's right. Was he your great niece or anything? Niece?
No, he wasn't a niece. He was a soldier. Right. Go ahead, it's short.
But we were doing our World War II stories about the home front. And Luther was a big old strapping 6'4", blonde-haired, 200-pound physique. He was a sergeant. And he got in there, he said they always took the soldiers from the South and they wouldn't let them eat lunch or dinner or anything around the people from the North. He said, you know how they are, Bill, they know everything. You know, you just didn't want to be around them, they'd get in a fight. He said, you could take 5 kids that have never fired a gun from Kentucky and 5 kids from New York City, and the Kentucky boys would outshoot them if they never even picked up a gun before. It was just in our blood. But Luther grew up with a big family. How many was there in the woods?
Oh, well, that's 8 or 10 of them.
He had at least 3 brothers in the army with him.
Went in, Ruth, and there's a whole bunch of them.
I better have my facts right. But so Luther was telling us because he said that when he grew up, he had never left Sharp's Chapel. And when the war came, he said the first night he spent away from his mama's home was in Fort Oglethorpe, Georgia, with 150 other 18-year-olds. And Luther said that they gave him a uniform and told him to put it in his footlocker. He said, "Hell, I didn't know what a Foot Locker was." He said, he never been out of Sharp Chapel. He didn't know what a Foot Locker was, and he said, "What else?" He said, "They'd send you down the hall in your underwear, and you know, they one boy out there, one boy out there." And he said, "One door would open, and they'd shoot you in one arm. Next door would open, they'd shoot you in the other arm, and it just went on like that." And he said, I said, "Well, what did you think when they checked your prostate?" He said, "Right then I learned how to take orders." He said he was the first guy to capture a German general, sergeant. He said, he was a good one. And we did that show, and we were going to put it on the air. We had a great interview with him. He had a pearl-handled gun that he took from a general. And I said, how'd you get that gun? He said, "Well, that general wanted to trade me for a pack of cigarettes. We captured him." And I said, "Would you trade him?" He said, "No, I kicked his butt and sent him down the road and took his gun." But he said when he got back, he finally found his brother. It's almost Private Ryan, you know. But he finally found his brother after 2 years in the Army, and on a tank passing by in a mess hall one day. And then after he got out, he said he stayed in Sharp's Chapel and farmed with his daddy for a year and a half to get his nerves settled.
That's true. You're going right, boy.
PTA, the post-traumatic stress. Nobody knew that. They farmed. Luther was a farmer. And then he went to Carnes Bakery. But Luther was a good one. And the other story, but the thing about Luther was we were going to hire some actors and pay, you know, we tried to pay everybody whenever we did some work like that. And we had these actors all ready to go, and we went down to the museum on Chapman Highway then that had collected all the military costumes, the uniforms from the soldiers from World War II. I mean, they had thousands of shirts, and they let us have the shirts real cheap, you know, and we had these strapping big boys that about 19, 20 years old played Luther and his brothers. And we got in there and we looked at the pants, and we couldn't find any pants small enough to wear for any of our people to wear. The size of the pants of the soldiers in World War II, the largest pair we could find was a 32-inch waist. Most of them were 28, 26s, and 30s. Now that's kind of strange, but that's said a lot to us. To me, that the kind of shape and contribution these people made. And another story was in 2002, we did Ken Russell. Ken Russell, they said, "Bill, you go out there and talk to Ken Russell." Well, who was he? What did he do? You know, we were working pretty fast, but usually we got a chance to meet, talk to him, meet him, understand what we were doing. Well, Ken Russell, turned out, was Stephen Ambrose's chief resource in the Band of Brothers. He was one of those paratroopers that were the first soldiers they dropped behind the lines. He was a blocking back at Conestoga High School, which doesn't exist anymore. It's down in near Tellico Plains. But he said there wasn't enough action, and he said that when they dropped the bomb on Pearl Harbor, he joined up, and wasn't enough action in the Army, so he joined the paratroopers. And he was just a kid. He said, one morning at the latrine at 5 o'clock, he said he was wrestling around with this other guy, grabbing, playing, shooting, popping him with a towel. He said the general yelled at him. He said, "Russell, get over there and shave like the rest of the men." Ken Russell said, "Well, General, I can't shave yet." He said, "Well, go over there and act like you're shaving." He said the night of his high school prom, he jumped out of an airplane over Saint-Mère-Glaise, France, in the invasion of Normandy. When his best friend and his girlfriend walking down the aisle to get their high school diploma, he was invading France. Well, he said it was like jumping into hell. Churches were burning and the soldiers were getting pulled in, sucked in. He said we was 15 miles from the drop site. We were they landed us on an occupied, German occupied town, and then shot us out of the air like ducks. And then he jumped up and we thought, well, he's gonna go show us his medals. So he comes back from his little box of medals and he pulls out this picture of George Patton standing on a Jeep peeing in the Rhine. he was more proud of that picture than he was of all his medals. He said they all called him a shorty after that. Anyway, this is Wanda remembered me telling this story. When the Heartland started, you know, those first years we were stumbling and trying to figure out what we were doing. And the chief writer was from New Jersey. He's a red-headed Irishman named Sean. It was me, Doug the cameraman, and Laura Armour. We all went home and we took our, nobody knew what the Heartland series was if you didn't live in Knoxville or around Maynardville or Kingston, and our parents and our people never saw what we did. What do you do? Well, we do TV. Well, what kind? We don't ever see it, So we had a little tape like those, and we took our best shows, our favorite shows back home, show our parents. I had 8 brothers and sisters, all still at home then, and they put me in a chair and they gave me a bathrobe to wear, and I was going to show a VHS of my five shows. An old man sitting there, he worked all his life, plugged along, and then 9 kids. And we're sitting there and watching the shows, and I come on, I say, hi, I'm Bill Landry, this is the Heartland series. 3 minutes later on those early shows, we just slapped them together. It wasn't anything like selling tapes. We slapped those shows together, so every one of them had, hi, I'm Bill Landry. This is the Heartland series. And I was wondering how my brothers and sisters liked the show. My old man sitting there. And finally, after about the 3rd show, Daddy stands up and says, Jesus, we know who you are. So, TV ain't all it's cut out to be. Wanda liked that, so that was for her.
And you're on your own as to how long you want to speak, so because it looks like you've got the audience better than I can. But and they're so pleased to have other people here because I try to fill in, and they'll kind of grin. But it all sounds good. I could talk good in Beaumont, and that boy just went, hey, we got another Beaumont boy over here. They listened, and they spoke up. But then they get tired of me. I've got 2 minutes and a half and Dizzy Wiggles, and all they've done is laugh at you.
That's why we did the 3-minute short shows like that. You can fool people for about 4 minutes. And then they say,
yeah, that's about my speed. But now, I admire you. I think you're tough stuff. You can stay as long as you want to with us. And we'll pray for you and yours. And we're just so proud to have you anytime. You can even upstage me if I'm trying to preside over you. That's hard to do.
I would try not to do that.
How much longer do you need? 3.5 minutes?
Yeah. I don't know how long I'm going to talk here, but I'll bet it's close to 3.5 minutes. But anyway, real quick, this is the book. This is the book. It's about 2-3 years of all my life working on it. Really, I was a riverboat captain for TVA, and it all came about. I do tours on Kate's Cove. We did so many stories on Kate's Cove, and I tried to put them all together. This book's about settlement. 1760 to 1805, that mysterious period of the Southwest Territory, hidden in the great misty forests west of the Appalachians lies the mysterious Southwest Territory. It's the part from the top of the Appalachians to the Mississippi River. Until 1796, that was just Southwest Territory. They called it the back country of North Carolina. We know it as Franklin, the state of Franklin, and the frontier. Of course, it was Cherokee country. And we think of the Cherokee as the overhill, the little T Cherokee, where there's 14 villages, you know, down by Fort Loudon and up through there. But there was, the Cherokees controlled everything from Clemson to Columbia, Georgia, north. Everything west of the Appalachians. And that's the period place that's always interested me. But I always thought that the story of our people has always been the story of the people west of the Appalachians trying to be connected up with the outside world, you know, that existed on the other side of a mountain range. You know, many people over here didn't even know that other world existed. And certainly that other world of the 13 colonies didn't know what existed across the mountains. It was against the law to be on this side of the mountains until 1784. Okay? But, you know, and this is in the first part of the book, it's about irrepressible cussedness. You know? It comes from the treasury of Southern folklore. And I always thought this was the character trait most akin to backwoodsman and pioneer. And it's the most important characteristic of an East Tennessean. What is it? What does it mean? Irrepressible cussedness. It's all the time there he was, playing his tricks out of making a way out of no way, hitting a straight lick with a crooked stick, winning the jackpot with no other stake but a laugh, fighting a mighty battle without outside showing force, and winning his war from within. You know? So the first chapter is about a beast feast, you know. How many people have had muskrat, possum, groundhog?
Oh, yeah.
You know?
Never eat
Do you like groundhog?
Never really eat one of them.
I think you ought to stay away from groundhogs. Muskrat too, unless you fell out of a tree or something. Lived in a cave or fell out of a wagon crossing the desert. I just go ahead and eat your shoelaces. They taste better. I'm just kidding, but that's what's in some of that that's in the book. But so I'm going to a Baptist church. It's in the book near, you know, in Jefferson City, thinking a beast feast in a Baptist church. And went in there, and you know, usually there's an altar and a cross and everything. They had mooses and deer heads, you know, things like buffalo.
Hey, do you want to tell them about that whole damn book, or do you want them to buy it so they'll read it?
Okay, I got 5 more minutes. All right, anyway, I just want to tell you about the beast feast. Get started. And I started thinking, okay, beast feast on here on Highway 11E. Wow, 11E, that's the wilderness road. Started looking at it. 11E is, the Cherokee called it Athawanami. The old wagon train road, the old wagon road, or path of the armed ones. That's what Athawanami means. Where the Cherokee would work with Iroquois to the north on the same road that we're having this beast feast on. Then I'm thinking, well, Daniel Boone had a beast feast here too. I'd say Daniel Boone ate here 100 times. And I started thinking, well, Polly Finley only lives 7 miles over there. Finley Farm, there's Crockett's original house where his daddy lived. And right there was, you know, that's one of the most important historical places in the world for us. And 10 miles up the road is Bean Station. Bean Station had a 200-room hotel that 5 presidents frequented. You know, Crockett ate there all the time. Boone was there. Abraham Lincoln's mother was a waitress there. A historical place. So I tried to lay all that out as our gateway, as the introduction to the Wilderness Road. It also has Timberlake's journey in it, and it has Bartram's journey, the first European explorers of our world, our place in the world, in the book. Now I'm out of time, and I gotta go tend to some family business, but I sure can sign a few more books if anybody needs a book, or I'll sign any page on the book you want. So until I write a book and see you again, I'll see you. Thanks for coming, and I'll see you on the reruns. Thank you.
Get over here. If you want a book, you got 3.5 minutes. 3.5 minutes. That's good. 3.5 minutes.
She's busy.
Moving on.
Glad you got to see it. How's your knee doing?
Okay.
You look okay?
Yeah, it's still bothering Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that seems to help these young kids when they get.
Well, you take care of yourself.
Okay, I will. Good to see you.
Good to see you too.
Bye, brothers. You had yourself stay out of trouble.
I'm looking all over this place for you, girl. You told me you work with here. How many days is that?
This is Bill Landry. This is Bill Landry. It's not Jackson. Did I not buy your book? Did I not buy
Julie
your
got it.
book?
Sliced potatoes, she got yourself up there out of that. Marine water,
He's something else.
Taking pictures.
Are you on a wanted list? I don't know. But I'll find out. As soon as they turn the air on, I'm going to try to get it.
Jim. And there was other words that were all the time.
Didn't run over, getting out there. Question or two. You got them all. It's kind of.
Thanks if you work there.
I've been writing stories too.
I looking all over where you
Wonder what time he started up here.
All right, I believe it's time.
I've been pretty.
Roll again. Talk about being blessed, the triple blessed, and you'll be worn out and happy. Okay? We'll all be happy and say, well, how did we get all that in one day? But the good Lord, with the good Lord's blessing, we'll do it. It's not our treat like this very often, but this is history making. It's about like when they had making music, and I think they had about 8 people. But when I look at you and it's all smiling, I don't know what I've got something on place or something wrong with it that you smile at me. But it's beautiful. All of them about good. Don't you dare call me. Don't you call me. You ain't gonna say a word of it. They used to call me, oh, they call me, they call me, they call me. Him and his brother, whatever now. Okay, are we ready? Who is it? Okay, we have a nice lady from East Tennessee, and this is, remember the oak tree, Lisa Oak. Yes. Lisa Oak. And you can come right over here, and pull your stuff over. All right, so that way we can walk back and forth. If they start talking, just tell me, and I'll take care of it.
Well, and you're gonna keep me on top. Well, I think I might need a few more than that, but when I get 3.5 minutes in, you let me know. Stuff about that side.
All right, we all be quiet. All right, introduce this fine lady. You gonna listen?
You tell who the teacher is.
Sorry. Ready to roll. Tell them, baby.
Okay.
Tell them where you're coming from, where you're going.
I will do. I will do. Well, my name's Lisa Oakley, and I'm very glad to be here today. I see some faces that are a little familiar. Perhaps you've been to the East Tennessee Historical Society down at the History Center in downtown Knoxville. I worked there with Cheryl Henderson, and I think Cheryl's been here probably more than once to talk with you all about First Families or about our membership programs or just about her own research and her own story. And I've had the privilege of working with Cheryl now for 28 years at the Historical Society. So the Museum of East Tennessee History is an exciting place to work. And I help with a lot of other of our offerings, publications, and that sort of thing. But my job is curator of education. So what I do is I see the students and the teachers in my day-to-day world, and it's my job to see as many as I can. To get as many students into the museum, or we actually go out to the classroom, so see as many of those folks as we can. And I also serve about 1,500 teachers a year in teacher professional development. Now, I can't do as good a job as this gentleman over here has done and continues to do to tell the Tennessee and East Tennessee story. But that's what I try to do. I try to tell the story and inspire teachers to be able to tell that story, because most teachers come at it without knowing the story. So we try to share the story with them so that they have confidence that then they can bring it to life in their own classroom. And we feel like as a museum, we have a real opportunity to help do that. But we all know that the first responsibility and the hardest job is in the classroom. And so I thought I would share a few highlights with you of what I have learned and what I am seeing about the current social studies standards in Tennessee schools, what we feel like our opportunity is, and what we feel like works. It's a slow process because we have a lot of makeup to do. We have a lot of work to be done because of the way things have changed with our standards. So first of all, does most everybody kind of know where we are in downtown Knoxville? The museum, and I have some material. I won't go into that because I don't have a lot of time. But one thing that I wanted to make sure I mentioned to everybody before I get into my few comments on education is we have a new exhibit on Mountain Dew. And if you haven't seen it, I mean, it literally just opened, so nobody can say, oh, I didn't know. I'm telling you. And it's an incredible exhibit. It's very well done to tell the history of not only Mountain Dew uppercase, the soft drink, and PepsiCo has been very supportive of what we've been doing, but also the lowercase version of the story of Mountain Dew, and what that story how that plays out not only in Tennessee, East Tennessee, but also in Southeast and in Scotland and Ireland, and we talk a lot about that. So I brought some cards for you, and perhaps I can leave some so that you can have them for folks. And that is in the temporary exhibit space of our museum. So we're open 7 days a week except for our holidays, and you're welcome to come. It's free on Sundays, and you may want to come on August the 17th. If you've never had an opportunity to come for the history fair, we would love to have you. And usually you all bring a group from Union County to set up a table. So we have folks from all over the region, from historical organizations and sites that set up to meet the 15,000 people that come. We also have living history interpreters. There are free tours of Blunt Mansion and James Watt Ford. There's a shuttle to get you there, so you park once, and we can keep you busy all day with history. There'll be some films at the Tennessee Theater also going along with that. And the museum's free. Of course, you will be viewing it with about 400 of your best friends. That might not be the day to come and really consume everything in the museum, but we would love for you to come, and there's a great antique fair on that day as well. So I will leave these cards, and you can take those afterwards. As well as my card is here, and the education volunteer coordinator, Hannah Rexroth, that works with me with our student programs in the classroom, and then we bring all those programs out to the schools, and then my card. So we're the only two-person department at the Historical Society, and we do get a lot done, so we work really well together. And some of the other material you're familiar with. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to give you one copy, give you that, and if you will just take one and pass it around, if you're a couple, if you will just take one for a couple, that way we'll have some for everyone. So like I said, part of what we do is at the museum, we offer hands-on programs, and we mean hands-on as in we don't bring them into our museum galleries and they get to touch the objects, the artifacts that are on exhibit in the main gallery. That's something we do, though, make it interactive, where we give the kids like a scavenger hunt kind of activity where they go find the objects and they come back to share with us what they found and the story behind it. So we don't ever just take the kids through and talk at them. We send them out to see what they can discover. And what you find is the kids are really, they have an imagination. They do image what, and they begin to kind of set the setting, set the stage by going out first to look. So that's how we do the gallery tour. But then the hands-on programs are in our classroom space, a space that's separate from the main gallery. And we have reproductions of things. We'll have objects and documents and all kinds of things that we'll walk the students through programs. Again, never dictating to them what we want them to learn. We first ask, what do you see? What do you think? What do you hear? We try to engage them first, and then we teach based on what they observe about the objects or the things that we're doing in the classroom. And I wanted to share the description here with you because you can see through those programs kind of what they feature. And you can see we deal with everything from the frontier story, like Bill was talking about, that early settlement story, all the way up through World War II. And particularly, though, the early settlement and the Civil War story. And we try to do it in a very honest way. We try to do it with the objects or the documents, kind of setting the stage, the voices from the past. But it's amazing what these students can contribute to the conversation. Most of our students that come to the museum, and I think that would be true if you were to offer a special day or something here, will be your 3rd, 4th, and 5th graders. Okay? 8, 9, and 10-year-olds, roughly. And there are some reasons for that, and I'm happy to answer questions if you want as we go through this. But when we see students face to face, that's usually the grade level it is. And that grade level and that age level is the very perfect student to be working with. They have all kinds of questions. They really want to know. They're excited. They take it, they take these things and they debate on them personally inside themselves, but they have not yet formed a lot of those distinctions and opinions yet themselves. They really are learning, and they have the capacity to begin to understand the story at that age. If you have grandchildren, children, neighbors that are that age, I encourage you to tell them stories. If they're interested, they really want to hear the story. And they're fascinated. And a great way to get them interested are artifacts. Especially things they've never seen before. They love it. I mean, we think, oh, they just sit in front of the computer or they sit playing games all the time. And they do. So when you bring in something that's 3-dimensional for them to handle and try to figure out what it is, you will be amazed. Try it. And what that does is that gives you entree. As soon as they're engaged, as soon as they pick up an object, as soon as you start telling them about what it was like when you were a certain age, and they start asking questions about it or thinking about it, you have them. And it's amazing what they learn. What they learn. The key is to get them interested. Have them ask that first question. So that's what we go about doing at the museum. For middle and high school, if you've never heard of National History Day, I encourage you to reach out to me. I'd love to talk to you more about it. If you know about Science Fair, this is Science Fair but for history. And we are the coordinators of the East Tennessee Regional Competition. And I go out and work with teachers and middle and high school students from August through the competition day, which is the first Friday in March. And these kids do incredible research on oftentimes Tennessee topics. We have a wealth of material here in Tennessee and in East Tennessee for these students to delve into and to research and to find out. And then they can develop a documentary, a website, an exhibit, a performance, or a paper. But first they have to do the research. And they have to come up with an argument. Kids can argue. But it's great to hear them arguing a standpoint on something from the past that they've learned about and that they have the evidence to say why this was important or why this was significant. So that's how we work with middle and high school, and that's something that we utilize volunteers in all these areas. We could not do, Hannah and I could not do what we do if it were not for the volunteer corps that we have. In all honesty, we don't need to be the only ones out there doing it, because we have treasures of folks around that have the interests, that have the stories, and that can engage the kids. So my job is just to coordinate. My job is to make sure that we're on point and that we're coming up with new ideas, and then I work with the teachers. So my main responsibility is to work with teachers in teacher professional development. And I love it. And people say, well, where did you learn to be a teacher? And I said, over the past 28 years working with teachers, I've had a very long apprenticeship. But that's what we do in public history. That's my degree, is in what we call public history. My degree, I got my undergraduate degree at UT in the incredible history department there in the 80s, incredible professors and faculty. But then I went on and got my master's degree at MTSU with Van West. I don't know if anybody's had the opportunity to work with him. I'm a state historian. But then I started practicing history with the public. And that's where I've learned the most. And that's why I do what I do, is to learn more. So I give you some materials. You can ask me questions if you want. I wanted to talk to you just real briefly about how Tennessee history is being handled now. Now, I'm not going to get into the history of it. The social studies standards, there is a long history. When I started my job in 1991, the social studies standards we had, and did anybody teach social studies then? They were kind of broad. I mean, you could just about teach anything and hit a standard. Now, some people like that. If you're really good at what you do, and you know the history, and you can construct your own curriculum, you're doing good. But as we all know, testing becomes more and more important through the years. So in order to have a test, you've got to have the standards so that the test can be written. And so as that continues, then actually what happens is Tennessee history as a standalone subject used to exist in 4th grade as a unit, about 9 weeks, and at 7th grade, which I took, as a semester. So you had half a year of Tennessee history in 7th grade. In 2001, that changed. They took Tennessee history as a 7th grade semester out of the standard. That does not mean that Tennessee history is not taught. It was what they called embedded into American history in 4th, 5th, 8th, and 11th grades. And our job was to get out to as many 4th, 5th, 8th, and 11th grade teachers any way we could and share this Tennessee history with them so that they could adequately work it into the rest of American history they had to teach, which is not an easy job. So the stories that ended up being told were the biggies. Manhattan Project, John Sevier, the big stories like he was talking about, that South, that settlement, Sevier, the Cherokee, some of those main characters were taught up until 2013. That's what we had. So many of y'all might have not heard a lot of Tennessee history coming back from your, from the young people that you knew. It did not exist as a standalone subject. We're not going to debate that because that's over. As of this year, your 5th grade teachers in the state of Tennessee are required to teach a semester of Tennessee history. Yay! That's exciting. Yes. But you have 5th grade teachers that have never taught the early story in American history, let alone Tennessee history. They've been embedding the Civil War to the present. They've got that pretty good. I mean, they can build on it, right? Know nothing about settlement. Know nothing about the American Revolution except what they have in their common knowledge because they've never taught it. But I have told them we've been doing, again, my job is to be out like I was for Knox County teachers and did a day of content with every 5th grade Knox County teacher. I was with them doing content from the Cherokee at Fort Loudon and the British through James K. Polk. That's a lot. But we created ways to do it. We have a website for teachers with all kinds of curriculum materials. The one thing I forgot to bring was the website bookmark. So that's my job, is to get out there. But the thing that really makes it work for them is if they have partners in their community that can help them in beneficial ways in their classroom or just as a resource for them. It's hard for them to get out of the classroom sometimes to bring the students somewhere, but if you can find a way to help them and assist them in unique ways with this new Tennessee history semester. Now your Union County teachers are incredible because I've been working with them since 2006. And Jamie Rhodes, some of y'all might know Jamie, she teaches at Sharps Chapel, and she is kind of the point person with the social studies teachers. And she kind of coordinates professional development for them and gets out there. And I've worked with, and there are lots, but Lee Faust and some of the other, and remember, the ones I work with mainly are 4th, 5th, and 8th. I work a lot with Christy Dean at the middle school in the 8th grade. So there are a lot of teachers. You have great Union County teachers, and they have been trying this for a year. They didn't have any testing that counted last year in 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade, so they had a free year to try these new standards and try teaching this new way. They took the initiative, folks. Most school systems, those teachers are not even trying it until it counts this year. But your Union County elementary teachers said, this social studies is important. They do, most of those social studies teachers, 3rd through 5th that I work with, do at least 6 hours of PD with us every year. So your kids are in good hands. But you have a unique story here that you can help, if you're interested individually or as a group, to reach out and say, you know, what can we do? They don't need a curriculum written, they've got plenty of that. They probably don't, you know, they just need to know who's willing to help us tell the story. Because, like I tell the teachers, they're overwhelmed with Tennessee history because they don't know it. And the way it's worked into the standards, which nobody wants to read, but if you do, you can go to the Department of Education Social Studies page and you can read those standards. And they have it kind of fractured out into these, you know, compare, identify, know this, this, and this in a list. Sometimes in the wrong order. Sometimes they're talking about 3rd grade, they will say, 3rd grade teachers, teach your students about Daniel Boone and William Bean, the Long Hunters. What's the problem with that? Anybody know? Yes.
William Bean came before Daniel Boone.
That's right. Well, and was he a long hunter or did he settle?
He said,
He settled. He's not a long hunter. Daniel Boone is not a long hunter. And so you can help.
That's an 11-year-old boy answered me.
I know. Great job. He knows the story.
He's a woods.
Oh, there you go. So what I'm saying is this, it's not perfect, but we're getting closer. For the first time in the state of Tennessee since 2001, there will be teachers responsible for teaching the Tennessee story. And what I assured them of is this. I said, you spend a year getting to know these people, these characters, getting to know the plot, getting to know their story, read some more about it, bring that to life with the kids, and you're going to be far beyond teachers that have been trying to teach Tennessee history for a long time. So it's worth our investment. This will be in place at least for 4 to 5 years, and I don't think that anybody's going to really play with it after that. The legislature finally put down there, it is a law in the state of Tennessee. As of the summer of last year, it is required that Tennessee history be taught for a semester between K-8 and 5th grade is, I'll tell you, knowing all I know about all this process, and I was close to that whole process, that is the very best place for it to land is at the end of the 5th grade year. And so we're in good shape with that. Now it's the practice of it and reassuring our teachers and saying it's going to be okay. And you have lots of great story, and you know there are resources for you to help bring it to life right here. And you don't have to say, what are we going to do to write this curriculum? Or do we need maybe do an open house for the teachers. Especially your 3rd through 5th are the ones that have had the most upheaval. And the 3rd grade teachers have what I call the kitchen sink. You know what that means? You know, you have a recipe or something, you throw the whole kitchen sink in or the whole refrigerator. So they're having to teach all around the world, cultures from all around the world. And then the last 6 weeks they do the colonial history of the United States because it got shifted to put Tennessee history at the end of 5th. They had to shift a semester's worth of stuff down. So they put Civil War with the 4th grade, which in the 4th grade they used to end like at the antebellum period. So now the 4th grade is teaching Revolution to the Civil War, which I kind of like because I think those two stories are sort of the beginning and then kind of coming to the test, you know, with the Civil War. So 3rd grade got everything before basically Fort Loudon. So all that early colonial stuff, Jamestown, Mayflower, all that with 3rd grade at the end of their year. So this is all brand new to them too. So they just need to know that there's support. And guess what? It's an incredible story. But you know what it all comes down to? I think teachers feel a great responsibility to teach American history correctly. The problem is, for elementary teachers, they might come out of school with only one social studies class and maybe a survey of American history. So they themselves do not have the confidence in the content, and a lot of them are teaching a lot of, at least one other subject. So I think they will be receptive. You have some incredible teachers. They already know that we're available for professional development because they come to a lot of them. And I think that they would be excited to know this, that you all have sat and listened to me labor it. But I'm excited about what's to come. The other thing I will tell you is Tennessee history is now a class in the high school. Did you know that there was never a Tennessee history course at the high school level? There is now. And so again, so you have, now I have no idea, that is up to the high school and the principal whether it will be offered in their building. So I have no idea at Union County if there will be a Tennessee history this year. That might be something someone asks. And it's a big deal for teachers to take on something like this. So it would not surprise me if no one was ready right now to take it on. But that might be something that you can encourage or say, we hope that you will consider next year. It's too late right now to bring somebody on. But if they don't have it being offered next year or this year, just say, is there someone in the social studies department that might be interested? We will help support, what you're pulling together. You can find those standards. You can find what they're responsible for teaching yourselves on the website. You can see very clearly, and that Tennessee history piece for high school is it's pretty much got all this, a front and back page of topics that have to be covered. So, and there's some teachers that I've been working with in the surrounding counties that are teaching. They're doing a really unique job. And the high school, they do kind of create it themselves, how they want to do it, what they want to do with it. And that's where a lot of your primary source original documents, your unique stories and characters. Elementary teachers pretty much have to stick right to what they've got to get in and expand on the stories that are already written in the standards, so start there. But with high school, they have a little bit more, they can play with things and ask the kids to do a little bit more advanced work. So, we have a lot going on, but there's great potential, and I tell you, teachers do an incredible job, and it is a hard job, and it is a long, everyday job. I am privileged that I have the opportunity to work with many teachers, and my day is always in flux. I can kind of choose, what I'm going to do and how I'm going to reach out, and what I'm going to accomplish. And luckily, we're all on the same page working together on that. So, History Day might be something you're interested in finding more out about. The Lincoln Memorial has just, through the Abraham Lincoln Museum, has just now started a district. And what I did not find for National History Day, what I did not find out before I came, is whether Union County still comes to us, or if Union County is going to start, if we do have students. Joe Collins brought students to National History Day for a number of years, but I don't know now if he would bring his kids first to compete at LMU and then come to us. So if anybody wants to know, I can find out, because that's brand new.
And I'm nosy too.
Yeah. So what are you nosy about? You'll find out.
Anything that doesn't help the kids in Union County.
Yeah.
And one of the best places that you can go at her place, if you want to know about all the people in Union County that migrated into Beaumont and around Brookside, is to go up on the floor and see the city directories.
Yes.
Okay?
And Beaumont Elementary in Knoxville, which is in the Beaumont
You
community.
hear this, sir?
That's where I went to elementary.
Oh, is it? Well, that school, every grade level comes to our museum. There's 6 museums. We partner in Knox County. County pays for their buses, and they work with each one of our museums, every grade level, at least once a year. Now, sometimes we come to them. We're the only museum, though, that they still, every grade comes to us at least once. Some other museums, they're just having them come to the classroom. So, Beaumont, there's some great examples. If you know a teacher out there that would just like to do something unique, just have them contact me. That's the best thing to do, is just to talk about what can we do, because every school, we all know, the power in the building is the principal and the administration. And so once we find out what's everybody about and what's their purpose, then we can work within and make anything happen.
Now, this fellow that spoke up, I call him Edsel, but when he grew up, he wanted to be called Ed. And when I was in the 8th grade, he was going to sit by me whenever we had a program. He put a seat between us. But I just wonder if he remembers about the Watauga settlement and who taught us about the Watauga settlement. Sam Wallace. As she talked about this, I reminisced over the different history teachers that I had.
I remember Sam.
Yeah, you remember Sam. And I remember he's a little short fella, and he'd come up on his feet and he talked about the Watauga settlement. Now, I can't tell you all about it, but I know it's there, so I can look it up.
I'll tell you, the last time So the Watauga was covered up till 2001. The first time that word was spoken in the classrooms again was in 2013. And now we have at
And
least,
now it's spoken here.
now it's spoken here, and those kids know where the name Watauga comes from and why it's important. So that 8, 9, 10-year-old, 11-year-old, that's our future. And a lot of people want to work with middle and high, and that's wonderful. But that's where they really want to know. And that's where the stories can become embedded in their curriculum, in their story, in their minds.
3.5 minutes.
And okay, questions in 3.5 minutes. Any questions? Did that make some sense?
It was wonderful.
So, I'm not gonna preach to you about how I do it. I just love doing it because we have such an important story to be told. And these kids respond. The kids really do respond. We want to say, oh, they're too young to this or that. No. Any question for me? Or anything, some folks might out there know if I'm wrong about something. Because I'm still getting it
It would
straight.
be nice till you come back the next time.
Yeah. I did bring handouts. If somebody wants to know more about what we do, this is our 2018 annual report. I did not bring a lot of them, but I will leave them up here for anybody that might want one. And we have in here this whole centerpiece. This shows you all the places I have been in the state of Tennessee to do teacher professional development. So we go through Humanities, Tennessee, we go across the state. And again, I do what I do because of the teachers I've worked with. And continue to try to do as much as I can. That might be somewhere I physically was or a county that came to us for one of our workshops. So you're welcome. I'll leave some of these, and it also tells about our collection and other things. So I'll leave some of these as well. Any questions?
You can come back.
Oh, I come back anytime.
That's a
And
statement.
what I would love to do is, if you all think that there might be something that you would like to do, to reach out, I'll be glad to come back and brainstorm that with you, if you would like. But what I want to say is, do not create something big and unique. I think very small things can make a difference. And you can make the difference. Just listening to Bill Landry, can you imagine just having him in a class? How excited that would get the kids? Just that, because it is a story, and it's an incredible story. And there have been great contributions made to where we are today. In Union County, there are people that made incredible contributions through difficult times and trials. And so the kids need to know that.
And another thing I'd like to say, Peggy Green here, that I call my little Duncan girl, she loves old books, history books, and so do I. And a lot of people have done away with all that because they think it's junk or they don't have room for it. But you know, they're not going to make them anymore. And I'll pick up a history book that was 100 years old, and I'll either give it to her or I'll keep it, and I have some. And you know, they're not going to make any more of them. And if they did, would they write them right? So I've holding on to those, and if a teacher wanted to borrow one, I don't know what she'd have to pawn to get it, but I'd be glad to go with it or let them have him if they, and Peggy would too, but Peggy's the daughter of C.E. Donahue, who taught at the high school when I was there, but I don't have time to tell you all about that. But I do have time to tell you about one of my dear friends that works really, really hard here, and she tries to keep me under control. And as I go along, you might figure out who it is. And then I'll have time just for you to have one more treat. But we have had in-service here with the teachers in the past, and they came in to use our facilities, and all of them are welcome. And everything is taken care of. But I have been accused by this friend of not being nosy enough. Can you imagine that? And she said, you need to prowl and find out where this stuff's at. So one day I had to wait an hour and 55 minutes on somebody that's supposed to come in. And so I thought, well, I'll just look through this box in here. Well, I looked through the box and I thought, well, that don't look like much, that don't look like much. And I came up on, and this dear friend makes signs and notes on everything. And I found this 45-speed record. You know what they are? You remember when they came out when we were teenagers? Oh, it was a hit. And I thought, oh. And it was labeled, no, 2011. And I looked down, and that was my friend's initials on it. You know what it said? Do not put this anywhere. boy, it hit my funny bone. I had to call her. I said, where is the box that we keep things in that you do not put anywhere? Or did I ever give it you in that? So I'm not gonna ask her any questions like that anymore. But if you all can figure out who my friend is. But now she's got things that she may tell on me sometimes. But see, I'm up here presiding and she may be somewhere talking. It's hard. Okay. But we do have another, are there any questions? You've been such a good audience, but we have one more little surprise that came in today. I don't know how, you've heard, if you give people an inch, they'll take a mile. You've always heard that, it rains and pours and all that stuff, and it rains and pours. Well, it looks like that's what's happened to us, but hasn't it been a blessing? So are you ready for the next blessing? Okay. If you need to stand up and stretch and say my head and shoulders and knees with me, I've done that too in a meeting, and that may be what she tells on me. All right.
Let me get my crew together here, Dave. Pull it up. Roger, Professor Tim, and where's that, Bob? Dr. Bob. A lot of y'all know Bob. I'll introduce these folks. Some of you seen them, some of you met them before, some of you haven't. This is David Farmer right here. That's Clinton, Tennessee. That's right. So David, you played with Rick and Cleo there. Shows for him, kind of right hand man. Dr. Bob, you were a psychiatrist many years at Tennessee. A psychotherapist. Psychotherapist in your duty county. Hickory Valley. I dealt with mental health for about 40 years. I've been retired 20. This is Professor Tim. He's a retired school teacher. Tim Johnson. You have relatives here in the county, right?
Yes.
Johnson, right?
I do. Johnson, no Johnsons.
Since he's a retired teacher, we call him on the radio Professor Tim. Robert, Bob, David, and James. This is Proctor Rogers, folks. He's from Pennington Gap, Virginia, now Jonesboro, Virginia / California, right? He was a musician out there for how many years?
30.
And some of the people you played with?
Pretty good names.
Name a few.
I did a couple of shows with Tanya Tucker, Righteous Brothers, the short Righteous Brother. I did some shows with Bobby. Mary Kay Place. You might be looking for Mary Hartman. Cliff Crawford, who was a successful songwriter, wrote Old Rivers and a lot of hits. I'm not famous myself, but I've worked with some pretty good people. Did some things with Mickey Rooney Jr., Jan Howard.
Now he's a singer also, right?
Yeah, he's a singer. Sings country stuff. Thumbs Carlisle, you may not know who that is. He's a guitar player with Roger Miller's show. I did a couple of shows with Thumbs. Too numerous to name a lot of them, but I've enjoyed it. It's been a lot of fun. Worked with James, did the Cass Walker show with David and David West and Ciderville. And he's kicking and grinning. Now I'm here.
Now you're semi-retired.
Well, yeah, mostly retired, and semi kind of.
And I'd like to say that some of these gentlemen played with my brother Steve that just
Yes,
passed
that's
away.
right, that's right. Sure did.
This one knows me, and that's enough of them.
We have another fellow sitting back here in the audience by the name of Frank Smith. Stand up, Frank.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you know me, Dr. Frank.
Frank was a singer, charted some hits back in the 50s. Voted in the military.
Time takes its toll and passes by.
Been there, done that. And it was on the Tennessee Opera, is that right, David?
Yeah. Well, Tennessee Valley Barn Dance. He was on the Midday Merry-Go-Round.
Anybody remember Midday Merry-Go-Round?
Yeah.
Lord Blanchard. Speak up, boys. Speak up a little louder.
But I want to introduce you to these folks. Professor Tim and Dr. Bob here, a year and a half, 2 years ago, met this lady. She's an Appalachian lady, a wise lady, an older lady. And she calls our show on Sunday night. We do the Country Connection show at WYSH, WQLA, 101.1, 1380 AM, 960 AM, and on the internet, WYSHradio.com. Our show goes all over the world. We have an enormous audience in Australia, here in the United States, Norway, you name it, that hits from all over the world with the show. Tim and myself, Dr. Bob, and David, we do the show every Sunday night, go up at 6 o'clock, tended the NASCAR race. Depends on how much glass, how much metal is breaking down on NASCAR race. The time we go on, we have no wrecks, we go on at 6 o'clock on Sunday night. It's a good chance to tune in, things like we play a lot of older country music you can understand and listen to. Mix in doo-wop and pop with it, and we've got a big band in our house. We've got a folk music and some, just a general mixture, we call it, eclectic show. We're gonna play you a couple of CDs now. We recorded, Tim recorded, from the conversation with Gladys on our show on Sunday night. Now, I don't know what's playing, because I'm not familiar with this machine, I think I got it going to work. We're going to play 2 or 3 of these CDs with our conversation. Then introduce you to Gladys, the ones that haven't heard of. How many of you listen to radio drama when you were growing up? Some of you are close to our age. Amos Manley, you know, radio drama was said to be the theater of the mind. You created in your mind the reality. What Tim and I have done, in fact, is we've created the theater of the mind. Now we want you to think of Gladys as Gladys. Remember, think of Gladys as Gladys. But in your mind's eye. So she'll do some of the calling. We're going to kick this off now. I get the same word. Which one we're going to do? I don't have no idea. But this one is...
Now, Dr. Bob, remember, 3.5 minutes.
No more than that.
WYSH.
Howdy, Mr. Tim. This here's Gladys.
Well, hello, Gladys. It's good to hear from you. How are you all doing?
Well, most of us are doing all right, I reckon. The kids is playing in the snow. I've been climbing in the attic to get the Christmas decorations down.
Uh-oh. You said most of us. What's going on?
Mr. Tim, my life's been like a yo-yo this week.
Oh,
Jerking me up and down.
I'm sorry to hear that. What's been going on?
Well, it all started last Sunday when we got home from church. I was gonna put some of my butter and egg money in the cookie jar where I'd been saving up to buy a new couch.
Oh,
The old one got so broke down and dirty, I was ashamed for anybody to see it, much less sit on it.
I see.
All the stuff they put in it to make the thing soft is gone completely flat. You might as well be sitting on a bare church pew.
Been there, done
Well,
that.
anyway, that's when I got the shock of my life. Every bit of that money I put in there was gone.
Oh.
Gone, gone.
Wow.
My first thought was that maybe one of the young'uns might have took it. But that's when Rufus Ray fessed up.
Oh,
He said he borrowed my couch money to buy a fiddle. Now, Mr. Tim, that flew all over me. I got so mad. I told Rufus Ray, you didn't borrow my couch money, you stole it. Here you are, a deacon in the church, and you stole from your life's partner, and you up and stole my couch money. He said, now Gladys, don't get all riled up. I was gonna put it back.
oh, I see.
I said, how do you think you could put it back? It takes all you make at the mill and what little I make selling butter and eggs just to make ends meet. He said, I was gonna use my lunch money. I said, you ain't got no lunch money. I pack your lunch. I asked him, what on God's green earth possessed you to buy a fiddle of all things, since you can't play one? And besides, you already got a guitar. He said, now Gladys, I could learn how to play it. And besides, this fiddle is very special. It's the one my buddy Homer over in Casey Holler played on the radio.
Uh-huh.
I didn't see how playing it on the radio would make it sound any better. Well, things was kind of frosty around here up until about 1 o'clock on Tuesday afternoon when this big old truck pulled up in front of the house and a man got out and come up to the door and said he had something for Miss Thornton. I wondered what on earth it could be. Then he said it was that new couch I'd been looking at down at the furniture store. I told him I couldn't take it because we didn't have no money to pay for it. Well, that's when he said, oh, it's already paid for. Mr. Thornton came by the store earlier today and paid in full.
Uh-oh.
Now, Mr. Tim, that takes the cake, don't it?
I'd say so.
Where on earth did Rufus Ray come up with the money to pay for that couch? When he got home from the mill, I pinned him down and I asked him how he'd done it. He said, well, Gladys, I sold my fiddle. I know I didn't do right by you, so I sold my fiddle. Now, Mr. Tim, what do you think of that?
Well, I don't know.
He done give up his fiddle for my new couch. Well, I guess I'll have to start saving up my butter and egg money again. If I start now, Rufus Ray will have another Christmas present under the tree.
Oh, Gladys, like the Bible says, all things work together for good, and so forth. I'm really glad you're both happier now. Anything you want to say to our listeners, or do you have a request?
Tell James I do have a request. I'd like to hear My Way by Frank Sinatra.
Will do, Gladys. Be careful getting up and down to that attic. I'd love to see your decorations when you finish decorating.
Sure, Mr. Tim. Give me till about Wednesday and come on by. Thanks now, and you all have a good evening.
Thank you, Gladys. We'll be hearing from you again before Christmas. I know you're busy.
Oh yes, Mr. Tim. I wouldn't miss wishing everybody a Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
Okay, Gladys. We'll talk again soon. Good night now.
Good night, boys.
Do you want to hear some more? Or you want to get up and eat? You want to eat? Hey, have you figured out who old one because it's talking? Hey, I know what
That was us. Working on it.
Yeah.
A little bit on Deer River, man, you
New River.
Yeah, I'll have to thank you, River He come and volunteered here. He said he knew everyone was going to be. He gets his back. For 30 years, he went back to come here and have a sample that he had to All right, really nice to bring you back.
When he said David, I thought, this is looking like him. I thought it was
Thank you.
David.
Get up, Joseph, go see what he's fine back there. Anything else I need to say? I've never had a meeting like this before.
I want to get some of those cards.